All right, guys, I said I wanted to change the format of the channel just a little bit by being a little less judgmental on maiden flights and getting to know the plane a little better. Well, that's what today is. I'm going to spend a little time flying this awesome Ugly Stik and just give you some in-flight footage and talk a little bit about my experiences with the plane so far. So as you know, I've been on the hunt for a replacement for my Millennium Master, and I've decided for the time being, this is the plane. This is the replacement. And the reason I'm looking for that replacement is because Tower stopped making the Millennium Master. There are plenty of different copies of this plane out there. I know that with the right power to weight ratio and the right build, I can replicate this plane fairly easily, and it'll have some of those durability qualities I've been looking for in terms of being balsa and shrink covered versus EPO foam. EPO is a format that for my daily flyer, I've been able to wear it out. That's another reason I'm kind of looking toward the balsa and built up versions for replacement for a daily flyer. And so far the Stik has been performing admirably. So let's fly for a little bit, and while I'm flying, I'll talk a little bit about it. Well, as you guys know, this plane produces 900 watts. It's insanely overpowered, but boy, I'll tell you what, it makes it a lot of fun to fly because you can basically do whatever you want. So just watch this. I'm just gonna hammer it. I call this the launch. Isn't that funny? Okay, so let's talk about the plane. I think the biggest detraction on this particular model is that the color scheme, the blue, the white, and the black lends itself to shadows, and that's no surprise. Everyone that's flown RC for any length of time, if you've used a dark color scheme, you know that. I think that's why so many planes are white and silver and yellow and red, because they're very bright colors. So the blue and black, the blue's okay, the white on the wings is okay, but man, I'll tell you what, you get this thing in the shadow the right way, and it just turns into a black blob. So that's probably, but look at that angle. You can see those white squares really easy when it's reflecting the sun. Now, I know I'm not the best pilot out there. I know I'm not, Mr. Precision, and I certainly have nowhere near the skills that some of these really good 3D pilots have. That's just not who I am. I'm not that good. But for sport flying and just tooling around and having a good time, man, this plane, it's very competent. It's got a roll rate that doesn't feel like it's letting you down, nor is it so aggressive that you feel like you're on the edge of control. It's just right. It's just right, in my opinion. I've been flying it kind of fast there, but I'll do a slow pass here. I'll come into the wind and I'll slow it down and let you see what it looks like flying slow. I know a lot of guys are very interested in flying the plane slow, and that's great. That's fine. This plane will do it if that's what you're into. And with the way I have the power set up on this thing, that's inverted, nice easy loops. Very stable coming out of loops too. I don't feel like I'm fighting it. It just kind of rolls out, no problem. See if I can get a landing in. I might be a little too high right there, but I'll try. Oh, wind. Whoa. That was wind. Interesting landing. All right. But yeah, landings are no big deal. Ground handling on this plane, a lot of tail draggers, they have a tendency of wanting to tip over. They want to nose over. This plane doesn't even think about it. As far as it being a tail dragger, you really don't have to worry too much about control issues because it just doesn't have any bad ground handling problems. It doesn't want to tip over, and it doesn't go real hard to port when you get on the gas. It just has a nice little takeoff roll. In fact, let's do one. I'm gonna do a slow kind of scale like takeoff roll and let you guys get a look at that. All right, here we go with a more standardized type takeoff where I'm not just gonna punch it and let the motor pull it off the ground. I'm gonna fly it off the ground. See, nice, easy ground handling. A little bit of rudder manipulation, but it wasn't like a fist fight. And that's another thing I really like about the plane is that its ground handling manners are very good. But I'll tell you, that sun directly overhead really puts a dark shadow on it on that end of the field, though. It really does. Look at that. What I'd like to do is a touchdown on the other end of the runway and see if I can roll down the runway on the mains for you. I've done it before on this plane. Almost. Well, anyway, guys, I guess what I'm going to leave you with as I finish off this battery is that my Millennium Master and I have been together basically from the start. And I've flown that plane. Man, if I haven't flown that 1,000 times, I haven't flown it once. And it's sad for me to kind of walk away from it, but I don't have a choice. They're not making it anymore. So with that plane leaving production, I have to find something else that I can use as my comfort plane, you know? And right now, this plane is that plane. And that's high praise indeed, because that Millennium Master is a supremely competent plane. So for this to be named the successor to that, you know, that's a strong endorsement from my point of view. From me, you know, I don't, what weight you put on my endorsement, that's for you to decide. But I can say for myself, that's a pretty strong endorsement. So yeah, I think the only complaint I really have about this plane is that color scheme, and I've even been tempted to tear that off and just redo it in a brighter color scheme. And I may at some point, you know, when I'm looking for another project, that's something I might tackle. But anyway, that is we'll call it I think that's probably like a 10 flight review. So 10 flights in on the Ugly Stik, and I have the durabilities there. I haven't had any issues with anything coming loose. The landing gear is holding up just fine. The control surfaces have been very good. I do have a little video where I've done a shrink covering repair. I'll be putting that on the channel pretty soon, but that wasn't a fault of the plane. That was my fault. So I don't blame the plane for that. And other than that, yeah, this thing is flying well and I enjoy it. So for a daily flyer, if you're looking for a very competent sport plane, it doesn't have to be the Hobby King plane. There are a lot of sticks out there in different form factors as well. There's Ultra Sticks, there's big 70-inch sticks. I think Value Hobby has an 83-inch stick. A lot of different form factors out there, but I've been very happy with this plane as a daily flyer, and I'll keep flying it as such. So I hope you enjoyed the content. If it's been informative and useful to you, definitely would appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down at the bottom and hit the notification bell too, so you know when new material hits the channel. And once you've been a subscriber, every time you share a video or tell a friend, it helps the channel grow, and I definitely appreciate that too. So if you guys like this type of content, help me keep the channel growing by sharing, commenting, liking, subscribing, you know the drill. All right guys, that's all I've got for today. Take it easy.